This is not the church of Joseph Smith.
Travis Wingutsa, back from my run. Been listening to Rocky IV with the added text from the final fight scene. So that when the Paul Creed's coach, who's now coaching Rocky, is saying, no pain, no pain, no pain. That's the trigger on the final lap for me to start sprinting. So, today is Passover, World War III. If you've seen the movie V, original one, back in the 80s when they did that special TV week-long event when I was just in grade school, and of course all of us were talking about it the next day, trying to argue over whether V meant victory or visitors. It meant victory, obviously, because it was graffitied over the visitors. Thus, victory over visitors. And thus gave rise to the lizard people, which are now a conspiracy of the deep state. But the moon you've been seeing since last night at around 7:15, as I showed you yesterday, is the Passover moon. So don't be surprised if you see a lot of news stories about how Jews are celebrating Passover tonight for the first night during coronavirus. You guys all forget that Passover comes from Moses' confrontation with Pharaoh. And it wasn't to free the Jews from Egypt. It was to free the Israelites from Egypt, the bondage and the oppression, both government and religion. And so the God of the Israelites, not just the God of the Hebrews, is Yah. Short for Yahweh, short for the mispronunciation through corrupted European languages, Jehovah. The first pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, taking upon himself the name of Yah. Yah Moses. Yeah, Moses, that's right. The 18th dynasty, David Moseses. Founder of that dynasty was Yah Moses. And so when Moses goes to the top of the mountain in the land of Midian, as the narrative goes, Yah tells Moses to tell the Israelites of his name so that they will remember him. Thus the founder of the 18th dynasty, Yah Moses. It is not I am that I am. That's a misinterpretation, as people or Jews are guessing as to the English translation. It's pictorial. That's why they're not getting it right. So, alright. What Nelson did over conference weekend was to replace the Hebrew or Israelite God, Yah, and replace the Jewish Passover, which it should be everybody's Passover. We should all be celebrating Passover. It should not just be the Jews. But Constantine replaced it with the Babylonian holiday of Easter. Easter comes from that book of Esther, same word. And Esther, for some reason, was put in the Jewish book. She was of the northern tribe of Israel, according to the narrative, when the Assyrians took over and deported the Israelites to Assyria. The Jews were not involved. It was the Babylonians who came in and took the Jews to the city of and then the Persians released them. But that's why the Samaritans and the Jews fight among each other, is because the Samaritans were the replacement from Assyria into northern Israel, and they bred with the poor who didn't get taken into Assyria. So they became a hybrid mix of Assyrian and Israelite, and so impure, according to the Jews who returned from Babylon, fully pure hybrid Jews, because there's records showing that the Jews were together as one group in the city of And so because they maintained their purity of race, they were not happy with the northern Israelites, Samaritans, who were hybrids of the visitors. And so, even though they were building the temple together, the Jews were greatly upset. Nevertheless, they still built the temple eventually. But the family feuds continued on. But Esther is the Assyrian, which became also part of the Babylonian pantheon. She's Ishtar. And so the book isn't about an Assyrian it isn't about a northern Israelite, because it doesn't contain a northern Israelite name. She's got the name of the Babylon or the Assyrian Mesopotamian goddess. And then the other character, Mordecai, is Marduk. And so it's a fiction tale, is what it is. Putting it in the context of the Assyrian capture of northern Israel. And thus came Purim for the Jews, even though it's a northern Israelite story. And so, yeah, the Jews adopted a lot of Babylonian culture stuff in violation of Daniel's warning to remain pure Jews. But they did maintain the Passover, which is solely Israelite, including Jewish. And that's what the rest of the world have not maintained. We don't celebrate it in the Mormon Church. We celebrate Easter instead, the Constantine replacement with the Babylonian Mesopotamian goddess Ishtar. So that's how the church has abandoned our actual origins, our actual history. As Joseph Smith was trying to restore the ancient religion of the Egyptians, but Nelson, as he made clear in this last conference, especially, were a restoration of the Gospels Jesus, which Constantine altered and turned into a Mesopotamian god with the symbols likewise of Babylonian culture and deity, and yet he still called the God Jesus. Wolves in sheep's clothing. So remember that today, that we should be celebrating Passover. Every single one of us should be celebrating Passover. We don't have to do the meal thing as the Jews have done, but that's the history behind it. And so the Jews just reenact, like a passion play, the Passover. You don't want to eat unleavened bread. Alright, so that's what I wanted to get across to you guys today. We should be spray painting W over pictures of Bush. So go to it, guys.